This week on Lexington Now, a new salt barn, breaking the bronze ceiling, and community paramedicine. Welcome to Lexington Now for the week of November 18th, 2019. I'm your host, Neil Noah. We begin this week with the opening of Lexington's newest salt barn, the latest tool in the city's snow and ice fighting plan.
Today, we're cutting the ribbon to officially unveil a new, potent weapon in our annual war on snowy streets, a second salt barn. And believe me, council members and the mayor are very excited about this. This is about people and serving our people. So it's only November, and as you know, winter has already arrived. We're ready for the next cold, snowy blast. This new salt barn is an important step forward in our ability to clear the roads quickly and efficiently. Our citizens depend on us to make the roads safer when the weather is bad. And this new salt barn will help us work faster and better. Councilmember Richard Maloney has been a leading advocate for this new salt barn for a few years now, I believe. And so I'd like to ask Councilmember Maloney to say a few words.
There's a lot of people we need to thank, but I also want to start off by saying this is going to be a great benefit for this community, for the city as a whole. For having two of them in this city, we have cut down on our time, which is going to make it great for the east end. Secondly, it's going to keep our equipment updated better. It won't be tore up, which was excited to hear. Any way to save money, as the mayor knows, our budget crisis going on. This is the one way that we're going to be able to save some money, and I'm excited. A lot of people we need to thank. I do want to thank the former directors. Leo and I have been together for many years, I don't know, bunch. And I also want to thank Albert. And Albert came to me about 10 years ago about we need another salt barn. So we were able to put that money aside. And I want to thank my colleagues, my council members, especially Councilmember Farmer for keeping it in his committee.
Yes, sir.
And we kept that going. And I also want to thank Charlie Martin. He was the one to find this place, this location, and I commend Charlie for what it is. I think he's back. He's always hiding from everybody. He don't want attention, but I do want to thank him. There's another person we really need to thank, and that's Sally Hamilton, CAO. Every year I waited for the budget for the last 10 years. I looked and said, Sally, you got my money set aside? Yes. It was a roller coaster getting to where we are today. There were some areas that we were going to put that out more in the neighborhoods, and we had some issues, but it was a learning experience. But this is the best location, I think, and I want to thank again Charlie for putting this location. But without Sally and Hamilton keeping that money, and Councilmember Farmer keeping the committee going, I really appreciate them too, because they were able to make this happen too, and my colleagues being a big support. But this is going to be a win-win-win for everybody. Thank you again, Mayor.
Thank you, Richard.
The building is 80 feet by 152 feet and will hold 3,000 tons up to the fill line that you'll see in there. The yellow line around the building is our fill line to make sure we do not overfill it and create structural issues. We will load 3,000 tons initially this winter and then have the ability to order more as needed. The structure costs just over $1 million. And it was a great partnership between the divisions of streets and roads and water quality with the location, and now figuring out the best operations for moving forward this winter. So we are truly excited about it. Thank you all for being here.
This has been such a long time coming. It's incredible. I've been with the city for 18 years, and we have been talking about it since even before I got here. So to finally have this come to fruition through the efforts of everyone involved, and in particular, Councilmember Maloney mentioned CAO Hamilton, and Charlie Martin went above and beyond to secure the location and the financing. We couldn't be happier.
A new monument in downtown will celebrate the fight for women's rights to vote and the victory won for women's suffrage 100 years ago.
This is a great day. It's an exciting moment for our city. And today, we get to meet the artist and see a small model, a maquette, of a monument that is going to tell the world what an important contribution women have made to our city. This monument will remind Lexington women how far we have come and how far we have to go. The artist, Councilmember Masadi, is going to introduce to you in a few minutes is extraordinary. She has created over 75 large-scale works of art, public art, throughout North America and beyond. Choosing an artist for this project has been a highly competitive process. There were 127 replies to the nationwide appeal, Breaking the Bronze Ceiling, made for artists qualified to do this work. A professional panel of artists and design professionals selected 4 artists from the 127, and those 4 were here in September to present their proposals to the panel. The woman we are celebrating today emerged from that process as the unanimous winner. We know where her work will sit, at the corner of Vine and Mill on the Lexington Financial Center Plaza. Thanks again to Dudley Webb and the Webb Companies for making a site available for this monument. And we know when the work will be installed. In August of 2020, to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the passage of the 19th Amendment to the Constitution, which granted women the right to vote. So be sure to mark August as the month. And now, Councilmember Masadi, co-chair of the Breaking the Bronze Ceiling Committee, is going to give a little bit of history and tell us who the artist is.
Our goal has been simple: honor the past, inform the present, and inspire future generations. To send a message to young boys and girls that 51% of the population has had a hand in shaping history. The opportunity to choose your government by voting is the basic definition of democracy. The right to vote is not only synonymous with equality, but in my mind, freedom. Kentucky was on the forefront for women's suffrage, not just in the South, but in the nation. Women who were heads of households and taxpayers won the right to vote on tax and education issues in rural areas of Kentucky in 1838, 10 years before the Seneca Falls Convention. That made Kentucky the first place anywhere in the country where women could participate in the electoral process, and that was huge. So big hand to Kentucky for that. Barbara Gergudis has been chosen to sculpt the Breaking the Bronze Ceiling Monument. Barbara is internationally recognized for her sculptures. Her completed projects include iconic freestanding works, sculpture gardens, public plazas, gateways, signature markers, memorials, monuments, and works of art designed to enhance pedestrian and urban mass transportation systems. She's a remarkable woman and a fantastic artist, and we're delighted to have her in Lexington today.
And so now it's time for the reveal. So I'd ask Councilmember Masadi and Councilmember Plomin to join me at the reveal. And Barbara, do you want to help us do this?
Sure.
Yeah, let's do this thing.
Do we have a drum roll here?
Do we want to do a countdown? All right. 2, 1.
When we come back, community paramedicine just got a shot in the arm. Welcome back to Lexington Now. Lexington's community paramedicine program got a much-needed boost through a generous contribution from local hospitals. Here's more.
Today we are announcing that our main hospitals, UK Healthcare, CHI St. Joseph Health, and Baptist Health Lexington are pulling together to help us keep our community paramedicine service in operation. They are providing $200,000 to keep the program open in 2020. It's an outstanding program. From my perspective as a registered nurse, I understand how important it is. Community paramedicine is a win for everyone, especially our citizens, whose quality of life is often improved through this program.
Today is a great day for the City of Lexington. For several months, the Lexington Fire Department has been working with Mayor Gorton's office in an arrangement to keep the community paramedicine program funded. And today we are excited to announce that we have found that solution. We are grateful that UK Healthcare, CHI St. Joseph Health, and Baptist Health Lexington have all agreed to step forward and collectively fund this program for the 2020 calendar year. As you said, you were giving money to the city, but we couldn't do it without you. A community paramedicine program can simply be defined as using traditional EMS resources in a non-traditional manner to meet the dynamic needs of the community. Our firefighters use this program to navigate the needs of our most vulnerable residents so that they don't feel like an ambulance is their only option for non-emergent medical issues. Community paramedicine is changing the way we provide health care in Lexington, and the benefits of the program are shared by both the patients and the providers alike. We have already experienced a 6.5% decrease in EMS runs. This number is significant all by itself, but is especially impressive when you consider that our EMS numbers have historically increased 8 to 9% each calendar year. Prior to the start of this program, we anticipated needing to add a new ambulance to our fleet every 2 years in order to keep the pace with patient demand. Now, after in just 2 short years, the community paramedicine program being operational, there has been a 15.5% swing in EMS responses, which has reduced our need to add ambulances to our fleet, and that's a tremendous achievement. Federal grant funding allowed us to launch our program at a minimal cost to Lexington in order to assess its impact, but long-term funding will ensure that we're able to build on that progress we've already made. Through home visits, education, and individual assessments, we are helping patients to get the help they need for the best overall outcome, and not just a short-term solution. This translates to fewer patients in hospital rooms and fewer readmits after a patient is discharged. In closing, I want to recognize and sincerely thank the men and women of the Lexington Fire Department for continuing to serve the City of Lexington with the highest level of professionalism. Further, I want to acknowledge all the hard work and life-changing services our hospitals, their staff, and administrators continue to provide to those in need. Likewise, we want to recognize all our support agencies that have joined us along the way to grow this program into what it is today. Finally, I want to thank Mayor Gorton for partnering with us to find a way to keep this valuable program up and running. The city must have a consistently evolving and progressive EMS system to keep pace with the changing needs of our community, and we are happy to have found success with the Community Paramedicine program.
We often hear the same headlines: another pedestrian or cyclist has been hit by a vehicle. And while the occasional accident is bound to happen, there are ways to make them much less frequent. Let's find out how in the newest Rules of the Road.
Welcome back to Rules of the Road. Stay tuned for some important safety information. It's extremely important when you're operating a motor vehicle that you are aware of your surroundings, and that includes animals, but it also includes like pedestrians and motorcycles and cyclists, bicyclists, and just being aware of your surroundings is gonna help everybody, because a bicycle has a lane in most places in Lexington. We've put in a lot of different bike lanes and different things all throughout the city, and they have that designated lane. However, if they don't have that designated lane, they are authorized to ride on the roadway in a lane that a motor vehicle might be in. So it's the motor vehicle operator is responsible for paying attention and being aware of the surroundings, and just looking for pedestrians or looking for cyclists on the roadways that you travel on a daily basis. Be aware of what roads have you seen a cyclist on, or what roadways actually have the bike lane and which ones don't. Those are the places where you really want to be careful. Higher traffic areas, higher pedestrian areas, such as downtown and High Street and stuff like that. If we have a basketball game, that's definitely a time where you really need to be paying attention to looking for pedestrians. We do have a lot of pedestrian fatalities at night, and while we're talking about pedestrian fatalities, in 2018 nearly 50% of our fatals involved pedestrians, and in 2017 we had 13 pedestrians that were killed. So it's definitely an issue. Pedestrians are expected to follow the rules. However, they do have the right of way in certain situations where there's not a crosswalk or not a designated area for them to be. They do have some leeway there, but ultimately it's the driver's responsibility to make sure that they're paying attention and that they can see the pedestrian. One of the biggest crosswalks that we have in Lexington is on Broadway, right there at Transylvania, and it has the flashing lights. It has things to make drivers aware that there is a crosswalk there. But we have to be, as drivers, we have to be paying attention and looking for those things, and looking for people that are approaching the crosswalk. And sometimes pedestrians will just enter into the crosswalk, and it's important that as a pedestrian that we're paying attention and that we're looking both ways, and looking left and then looking right and then looking left again, and we can do things as pedestrians to allow drivers to see us. And it's wear brighter clothes, use the legal crossing areas that are designated for crossing, as well as just crossing in well-lit areas. All these things that can be done. Another thing is to ensure that the driver sees you, especially at night when you're crossing. Even though that you have the crosswalk signal, it's something that's important to make eye contact with that driver to make sure that the driver sees you. Something in Lexington also is if you're driving and as your light changes, be mindful that the crosswalks change also. So if you're making a left or a right-hand turn, those crosswalks are now lit up, that the pedestrian has the right-of-way and has a cross light. So it's important that you know the light signals and how they work, and that they change when your light changes, they change also. So just be aware of all those. This is Sergeant David Flannery, reminding you the #1 rule is safety first.
If you, like many people these days, prefer a fried turkey for Thanksgiving, you may not know what to do with all that oil when you're done. We visited with some young scholars at Redwood School, and they gave us some tips on what they do to help the environment.
I'm out at the Redwood School to talk about the gobble grease toss and interview some of the students about it. This annual event is where we collect used cooking oil from citizens who've fried turkeys on Thanksgiving.
I think it's important to take care of the earth because I imagined it. I don't think it's actually true, but I imagine that every time someone litters, the rain is the earth's tears.
Well, it's important to take care of the earth because, well, if it gets bad, it will just stay like that, probably. So, and litter will, on the streets, will probably get into our water that comes down from the sky, and it will pollute our water, and then we won't have any good, clean drinking water, because that'll go into sewers, and then it'll go into lakes or streams, and yeah.
Well, because we only have one Earth, and we live in it, and it's gonna be that way for a long time, so we should take care of it while we can, because it's where animals and people live.
My class is doing a thing where we recycle paper and turn it into paper beads and fire starters, and we sold it at our fall festival, and we're having a maker's fair, and we're selling it at that. We compost things from our lunches at school, and it turns into soil that I think we use in our gardens.
We have an aquaponics tank in our class, and we had 10 fish, but 2 died. And we're starting to grow plants in the top. The fish produce waste, which helps feed the plants, and then the plants help filter the water for the fish.
I don't use plastic like that much. Like I use metal straws and stuff because plastic eventually gets into the ocean and kills turtles and stuff.
So we have 2 chicken coops, one right there and then the one back there. And we collect the eggs. Instead of buying eggs like to make food and stuff, we use the eggs that we collect here and use them to make projects and stuff. I make sure I put the recycling in the recycling and the garbage in the garbage.
10 to 15 pounds of oil just to fry 1 turkey. So then it's really bad for your drains and for the whole environment to pour all that oil down into your drains. And it's not good to have it put into a landfill because then it produces leachate and it'll influence the whole earth.
So we bring the cooking oil we got at the gobble grease toss to UK, and then they turn it into biofuels, which is an alternative for diesel fuel.
We're so excited to be partnering with the City of Lexington and the University of Kentucky Center for Applied Energy Research and Kelly Green Biofuels again for another year to help our city be more green this holiday season. And please come and see us. Last year we were able to collect over 400 gallons of used cooking oil, and we would love to do it again and help our city recycle their used oil.
So if you are a turkey fryer Then you can bring your used cooking oil to the Redwood School the day after Thanksgiving from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. to collect your used cooking oil so that it's recycled into biodiesel.
In the lead up to Thanksgiving, we've got another busy week of meeting coverage on Lex TV. Chris Edwards joins us with a preview.
Thanks, Neil. Because of the Thanksgiving holiday, we continue to get all of November's meetings done in just a matter of a couple weeks. This week, Lex TV will be televising and web streaming 6 meetings from the Council chamber. We begin on Tuesday at 1 p.m. with the Council's Environmental Quality and Public Works Committee. During this meeting, we'll get an update on Lexington's snow and ice plan, another on the Municipal Separate Storm Sewer Program, which is also called the MS4 program, and finally our Director of Water Quality, Charlie Martin, will bring everyone up to date with the Water Quality Report. At the 3 p.m. time on Tuesday will be the Council's work session. Following the work session at 5 p.m. will be a zone change public hearing for property located at 171 Saunier Street in Lexington. Saunier Street runs between West Short Street and West 2nd Street and is 1 block west of North Broadway. On Wednesday at 3:30 p.m. will be the Rural Land Management Board. Remember, this is the board that oversees Lexington's Purchase of Development Rights programming. Thursday's Planning Commission meeting on zone changes has a packed agenda, so there's a possibility the last part of the meeting will take place in the Phoenix building. If this happens, Lex TV will record the untelevised portion of the meeting and then make it available on the city's meeting archive page. Then at 6 p.m. on Thursday, we'll have the formal council meeting. At the beginning of this meeting, there'll be a presentation of the Veterans Hall of Fame. Then there'll be a recognition of Miss Kentucky, Miss Alex Frankie, and another recognition of the law firm Landrum and Schaus. Landrum and Schaus has been a great partner in Lexington's social services efforts. That's it for this week. Remember, all these meetings can be seen live here on Lex TV and web stream on the city's website. If you missed any of these meetings, they're always available at the archives page at lexingtonky.gov/LexTV. Neil?
That'll do it for this week, but as always, you can keep up with us on social media, check out the latest traffic updates on Twitter at LexRex, or catch our live traffic cams on lexingtonky.gov. For all of us at Lex TV, I'm Neil Noah, and that's it for now.